Okay, welcome back, everyone. We'll need the resolution to come out of closed session.
The council move out of closed session and reconvene at 7:25 PM in order to continue with its deliberations, and that the April 2nd, 2026 closed meeting minutes be adopted, and that council provided direction to staff, and there's nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Wilson moves. Councillor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, so we'll resume our regular agenda, and thank you for everyone's patience. The next item is O Canada. Please stand. If you're able. Thank you. Next, we're going to look at the agenda and see if there are any changes. I know as far as sequence, we're going to move just a couple of things around. So the delegations around the CIP program will be moved just before new business. And then the item on the staff report from Mr. Tripp around the CIP program will be moved as the first item under new business. So just a sequencing, so that will make the discussion easier. Other than that, from council, any other changes, additions? Seeing none, resolution, please.
That the April 16th, 2026 regular council meeting agenda be approved as presented with the following amendment: moving section I delegation to section L after report DS 26-14.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lewis moves. Councillor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Next is disclosure of pecuniary interest. Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Under H, I have the Hipley Dance Drain meeting to consider and the quarter revision for the Baxter Drain.
Thank you. Noted. I don't believe we have any announcements this week. So we'll go to adoption of minutes. The minutes from our April 2nd meeting. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, may I have a mover and seconder? May I have the resolution, please?
That the minutes of the regular council meeting held on April 2nd, 2026 be adopted.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves. Councillor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Next is the public meeting. I don't know.
Meeting to consider.
Well, it's the meeting to consider, so I'll turn it over right away to Mr. Spree, who's here. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight's meeting is the meeting to consider on the Hipley Dance Drain. It's a bit odd because under the Drainage Act, we have a meeting consider, which deals with construction, and we have a quarter revision, which deals with assessments. But when we do a new schedule of assessments, we still have the meeting. So there's really nothing being constructed, so I'll just give you an overview. Essentially, what we're here for is we've done a new schedule of assessment on the Hipley Dance Drain. We're talking about the main drain only. There was a bunch of branch drains that were constructed at a later date. The main drain was constructed in 1985, around that era, and there weren't a lot of residential lots in this area. Over the years, there's been multiple severances. I think 16 or 17 lots have been added. And when the drainage superintendent wants to do some maintenance on the Hipley Dance Drain, he doesn't have a schedule where you can bill it out fairly because a lot of the lots aren't on it. The land uses have changed. The farmlands are less because they severed properties off it. So this process is just to create a new assessment schedule for the main drain so that when he does maintenance, when he has some maintenance to do, the cost can be assessed fairly to the landowners. And that's basically it.
Thank you for that overview. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, can I have a resolution, please?
That the engineer's report for the Hipley Dance Drain be accepted and that bylaw 26-20 being a bylaw to provide for the Hipley Dance Drain drainage works be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Wilson seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Next is we need to sit as the court of revision, so we'll need a resolution.
The Court of Revision for the Hipley Drain first.
Oh, for the Hipley Drain first. Yep.
So the Court of Revision to set that date for the Hipley Drain, that the Court of Revision for the Hipley Drain dance be scheduled to be held on May 21st, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Thank you for that. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, and now we'll sit as a court of revision for the Baxter Drain.
That the Council of the Township of Malahide does hereby appoint the following members to sit on the Court of Revision for the Baxter Drain: Mayor Dominique Giguère, Councillor Rick Cerna, and Councillor Scott Lewis. That the Court of Revision for the Baxter Drain be called to order at 7:32 p.m. and that Dominique Giguère be appointed chair.
Mover and seconder for that. Councillor Wilson moves, Councillor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. So can you walk us through the overview of that one, please?
Sure, thank you. This is the Baxter Drain. It's an existing drain that was last constructed in 1925. It's up on the screen there. It was in very poor shape. It was basically to the point where it's obsolete. So the landowners in the watershed, the Doans and the Walkers, they requested an improvement to the drain. So we had the consideration. There was no objections to it. So we're here tonight for the quarter revision. All the assessments are done in accordance with the Drainage Act. All the landowners where the drains on their property are assessed benefit, and then the rest of the watershed is assessed outlet. The total cost of the works is approximately $413,000. Any questions?
And any questions from members of the court? And were there any comments, objections received?
There were no comments received to staff.
I've received none. No.
Okay, so the resolution then to consider confirming the rates presented by the engineer, please.
That the Court of Revision members for the Baxter Drain do hereby accept the recommendations of the drainage engineer and further does hereby confirm the drainage assessments as outlined in the report of the drainage engineer dated March 5th, 2026.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. We can now adjourn the meeting of the court.
That the Court of Revision relating to the Baxter Drain be adjourned and a council meeting reconvene at 7:34 p.m.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Lewis moves, Councillor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. And thank you again for your patience. You did.
Sorry, thank you, Madam Chair. I've just, we have some residents here that were here for the Hipley dance. So I guess just from a process standpoint, I didn't pick up on the quarter revision date. I think there might be some concerns about the work that was being proposed, as well as perhaps some of the apportionment of cost. So the quarter revision is the time that you would raise those concerns specifically, and that date was just set for
May 21st.
May 21st. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that so we didn't have people sitting here perhaps unnecessarily just due to the process. So thank you. All set.
Thank you for that, Director Gobby, and thank you for being here. And if there are any further questions, Mr. Gobby will be able to clarify. Yeah, yes, you can. Yes, we will move to, like I said, before we're moving the delegations to just a little bit later. So we'll move to the consent agenda. So we have one recommendation from the Committee of the Whole. So last time, the Committee of the Whole discussed revisions to human resources policy. Another fulsome discussion then, and a unanimous recommendation from the committee. So we read the resolution to receive that recommendation, please.
Whereas at its April 2nd, 2026 meeting, the Committee of the Whole recommended to Council that report number HR 2602 entitled Human Resources Policy Revisions be received for information, and that the policies attached be brought forward to a subsequent Council meeting for consideration to rescind and replace. Be it resolved that Council adopts the above recommendations from the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councilor Lewis moves, Councilor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, so this brings us to delegation.
You're Eric first, right? New business, Eric.
Right.
Or not.
No, I think I'm going to suggest
Okay.
we do delegation and then the report from Mr. Tripp, and then we'll do the consent application. So thank you for your patience also. Ms. Cron, over to you. And welcome.
All right. Through you, Mayor Giguère, to members of council, good evening. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here tonight to talk about the 2026 update to the Elgin Incentives Community Improvement Program, or CIP. This presentation will walk you through what the program is, why it's being updated, what's new, and how you can share your feedback. Oh, I think I missed one. All right, so first, a legislative note. So this meeting is being held to meet the requirements of the Planning Act. Notice was provided in accordance with the Planning Act, and anyone is welcome to submit written or oral feedback. It's important to note that if anyone wants to appeal the final decision later, the Planning Act does require that they first make a submission before the plan is approved. That is tentatively scheduled for later in May. All right, so what is a community improvement plan? A community improvement plan, or CIP, is a tool that municipalities can use under the Planning Act, and it's a tool that they can use to support and encourage private development. So it lets municipalities identify areas that need improvement, create a long-term strategy to support those areas, and then to offer financial incentives like grants or tax support to encourage that private investment and community improvement. So otherwise, under the Municipal Act, bonusing is not allowed. So this is a tool, again, to see the improvement or to encourage the improvement that you would like to see. So Elk Incentives is Elgin County's community improvement framework. It's a county-wide framework that has been around since 2015, and it is an award-winning program. It was the first of its kind, the first time a CIP framework was developed at an upper tier level and administered by the upper tier, while the community improvement plan itself was adopted by each of the local municipalities. So it currently includes 12 financial incentive programs that support things like building improvements, facade upgrades, and signage on private property. So while the county prepares, manages, and largely funds the program, each local municipality must formally adopt the program in order to participate, because as an upper tier, Elgin County is limited in what it can do with CIPs. However, we can provide grants to the lower tiers to support community improvement programs. So after a decade, so we're about 10 years into Elk Incentives, it gives us a good opportunity to step back and look how the program is performing. So across the county, Elk Incentives has supported 287 projects out of 319 applications that have been approved. So that is a 90% approval rate. And we have provided $1.56 million in grants across the county, supporting $9.44 million of private investment. So in Malahide, there have been 24 projects supported. And that 24 projects does not include any tax increment equivalent grants. Malahide Council has approved one tax grant recently, so that's not in that number for 24. All right. So again, why did we review this after 10 years? First, we felt it was important to figure out what's working well, what's not, and what needs to change. Some of the incentives here no longer align with today's costs. So in 2015, the costs to do work were much different than the costs are today. And we also need to take a look at the policies and the priorities identified in the plan from 10 years ago to make sure that they are still relevant. And we did find that there's a growing interest in housing and larger economic development projects, and this review gave us an opportunity to take a look at that. So the review happened in 2 phases. The first phase focused on research and review. And that document was shared with all of our local municipalities several months ago. That was completed in April of 2025. And phase 2, the phase that we're working on right now, is actually updating the plan based on the recommendations from phase 1. So the background review that we completed in April of 2025 highlighted several key points. As already mentioned, we found that grant amounts didn't keep up with the rising construction and labor costs, that there was interest in housing incentives which weren't included in the original plan, and that the plan could be clearer and more user-friendly. So it is a long document, and it can be confusing for people to read and to understand what grants they might be eligible for. And we also found that there is a need to better support both existing businesses and to encourage new economic development in the county as well. So overall, the goal was to make the plan feel more modern and accessible. So following the review, a recommendations brief was created, and these recommendations included reorganizing the incentives. So they were reorganized from individual incentives and put into programs that were based by theme, and I'll go over those themes a little bit later. We added 2 housing-focused programs. We increased the maximum grant amounts and introduced new tools that municipalities can use to lead community improvement initiatives. And again, there was also a focus on simplifying the program so that it's easier to understand and also to administer. So overall, the vision of the community improvement plan has not changed. The plan will continue to focus on county-wide economic development, supporting improvements to buildings and communities, and helping to diversify the local economy over the next 10 years. The goals, however, have been updated to better reflect current priorities. So our new goals include creating more affordable and attainable housing, improving main streets in core areas, supporting rural and agritourism development, improving building efficiency and sustainability, and encouraging overall economic growth and vitality. And to simplify things, as I mentioned, the 12 grant programs were streamlined into 6 main programs. And then 2 brand new housing programs were added. So funding limits vary now by program, but overall support can't exceed 50% of eligible project costs. As before, these incentives are administered and funded by the county. However, local municipalities can choose whether or not they would like to participate financially. So we'll now go over each of the individual programs that are in the new program, or that we are proposing for the new program. So the first is the facade signage and property improvement program, and this supports visible building upgrades, which would cover up to half of the materials and labor's cost, and that grant would be around $18,500, the maximum that people would be eligible for. And applicants can also apply for 50% of their professional and application fees as well. The next program is the Brownfield program, and this supports the cleanup and redevelopment of contaminated sites, including study grants, temporary tax cancellation, and longer-term tax increment grants to encourage redevelopment. We also are proposing a building improvement, conversion, and expansion program to support larger renovation or redevelopment projects. And this would include a materials and labor grant up to $30,000, 50% of the project, and also a tax increment equivalent grant for larger projects. And the building efficiency and sustainability program will focus on projects related to energy efficiency, sustainable upgrades, and helping reduce environmental impacts. And the grant amounts are also listed on the slide for that program. So another new program is our industrial stimulus program. And the goal of this program is to encourage industrial growth using tax increment grants. And I'll take this opportunity to talk about tax increment grants. I know you have approved one recently, but the goal of a tax increment equivalent grant is to encourage and support businesses as they are making large investments. So an example would be someone has a vacant property and they decide that they want to build a 40,000 square foot facility on that property. And perhaps this facility is to do some welding, machine work, things like that. So after they build this facility, their property taxes are going to go up. So the tax increment equivalent grant rebates that increase of taxes for a period of 5 years. The first year, 100% of that increase is returned. And then the second year, that decreases to 90%, and it continues to decrease by 10% over the 5 years. We're now proposing a new tax grant that would be for a 10-year period, and this one is for projects that are 60,000 square feet or more, and also just for industrial development. And another new program is an agritourism and rural diversification program. So our goal here is really to encourage farm-based businesses and rural economic activity. So this grant would cover up to 50% of materials and labor, up to $10,000, and then also professional and application fees. And I will say you can combine it. It's not like you just have to choose, I would like the $10,000 for materials and labor. An applicant could choose to apply for all 3 of those things. So the potential maximum of this program would be $15,000 because you can combine those if it's all applicable to the project. All right, so here are our 2 new housing programs. The Affordable Rental Housing Program supports the creation of new affordable rental units, including planning costs and an annual tax-based incentive. And those tax-based incentives are directly tied to the rent that is charged for those units. The rent does have to be below market rate, and if the applicant is successful, they sign an agreement, and that agreement requires them to report what their rent is each year. If that rent ever goes above market rate, they do no longer receive that grant. So again, that's specifically tied to the amount of rent that is charged for each of those units. And then we are also proposing a new additional dwelling unit program to help homeowners add secondary units like basement apartments or garden suites. And we are proposing, again, a materials and labor grant up to 50% of $10,000. All right. And also new in our CIP is municipal leadership initiatives. And so these are new non-financial tools that municipalities and the county can use to support community improvement. So they're optional, flexible, and they depend on the council priorities and available resources. So the goal of these is really to articulate how municipalities and the county can support the community improvements that are being encouraged through the grants. So these are things that can be done alongside those private improvements to strengthen overall results. So the first initiative is a streetscaping and public space strategy. So this initiative would focus on improving public spaces, things like sidewalks, crossings, lighting, trees, public art, and accessibilities. The goal would be to find a cohesive way to make communities more attractive, welcoming, and walkable. And again, this is one thing that can help with the downtown core areas. And what's beneficial of having something like this in a CIP is it supports municipalities if they want to make grant applications. So when you are doing either provincial or federal grant applications, quite often they require you to have that project listed in a plan somewhere. So this is a benefit of having this initiative listed here. The next municipal leadership initiative is a public land inventory and opportunity analysis. So this initiative involves creating an inventory of public lands and assessing their potential for things like housing, employment, or green space. And this would help inform partnerships, funding opportunities, and also long-term planning decisions. Another municipal leadership initiative is the Brownfield Inventory. This would build on the Brownfield Incentive by mapping and tracking contaminated or underused sites across the county. So having the inventory would make it easier to target incentives and coordinate redevelopment efforts. And also tied to one of our programs is a ready-to-build ADU catalog. So this initiative would create a set of pre-approved or pre-reviewed ADU designs, and the idea is really to make it faster and easier for homeowners to create additional dwelling units while ensuring designs meet regulations. And there are communities that have these catalogs already, and so if this is an initiative that we were going to undertake, we would reach out to those communities to see what kind of plans they have. And then our final municipal leadership initiative is a climate change adaptation and resiliency initiative. So the focus is really to make communities more resilient to climate impacts. Examples include green infrastructure, building retrofits, expanding tree canopy, and using climate resilient design in municipal projects. All right. So now it's on to next steps. What's next? So following this meeting, all feedback will be reviewed and used to refine the plan. And then any updates, again, will be made to the plan, and it will be presented to County Council later in April to consider endorsing the plan. Once it has been endorsed, it will need to come back to the local municipal councils to be adopted by bylaw. If there are no appeals within the required time period, the updated CIP would take effect, and we would start working on implementing and promoting that program across the county. So we do really want to hear from you and also from the public. So if anyone is interested, they can scan the QR code there, come to our project page. You can learn more about the CIP, and my contact information is there as well. Any feedback can be emailed to me, or people can give me a call as well. My contact information is available there. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Wilson.
Through you, Madam Mayor, this ready to build additional dwelling unit catalog, do they happen to have that for houses? Because that would speed up the process of building houses if it was just like, yes, this is approved. This is easy to build. This is take the perhaps troubles of interpretation or whatever. If it's pre-approved dwelling, here you go, nice and simple, that would maybe smooth line getting some places built in the township.
Uh,
For additions,
Through you, Mayor, I know that the province is currently also looking at this as part of streamlining development. That I think part of what they want to do is encourage a lot of municipalities to have some pre-approved plans that would make it easier and a lot faster for building homes. That being said, you know, with any sort of home building decision, uh, people I think will want to spend a bit more money to customize their home, and that then, you know, comes with the fees. Of course, it's also the local site of wherever they want to build, you know, may warrant some sort of changes that they may want to make. So yes, it's about weighing the development fees and the timelines for approval versus wanting to pay a bit of more money to customize your home. That will come into play.
Any other comments or questions? And we'll go a little bit deeper in terms of Malahide specifics with the staff report. But for now, from the presentation, Deputy Mayor Widner.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, through to Carolyn. Carolyn, thanks for your presentation. You've been a busy person with the county. You and your team do a great job in a clear, concise, professional manner. And you've got a lot of good programs out there that I think people need to know about. And I think you're going to be pushing them forward. And thanks again for your presentation.
Anyone else? Seeing none? Well, oh, Councillor Wilson.
It's more to sort of reiterate with Deputy Mayor Widner, but just to know that I guess these different incentives are out there. It's sort of like, well, can't really see any use for that one. Can't see use for that one. Oh, that one. But everyone's like that. What's in your own personal interest? If you got 2 out of 8, depending on what it is, there's a lot of different meat to get off those bones there. So good job. Thanks.
Yeah, I have to agree, and good job on taking in a lot of input and seeking a lot of input from the previous program and really like modernizing and adjusting to the current realities. And the next step will be the communication promotion. So there's even making sure there's uptake, right? Yeah, this is looking really good. So we'll proceed with the resolution to receive the presentation first.
That the presentation from Carolyn Cron of Elgin County regarding Elgin Incentives Community Improvement Plan 2026 update be received for information.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves, Councillor Sterna seconds. All those in favor? And the motion is carried. So if you're able to stick around, then we'll move into new business and I'll turn it over to Manager Tripp for your report, please, on the same topic.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, members of council. Thank you for having me here tonight. The purpose of my report will be more or less saying, you know, how do we take this initiative and really increase Malahide's share of the pot? So firstly, I want to acknowledge the revisions in many ways reflects the feedback provided by staff, mainly the agritourism and rural diversification financial incentive program. Given the restrictions surrounding altering agricultural land, we need support in Malahide to enable adding value to existing agricultural lands for our farmers and business owners. Our strategic approach in the Development Services Department is to identify opportunities early and provide the communication, engagement, and information to assist and encourage investment within our community. We will implement a broad communication strategy that utilizes targeted messaging for those considering expansion as a concept. However, our real advantage is our approach in ongoing proposals identified through pre-consultations, planning applications, and building permit applications. We track these opportunities very closely, and as you can see from the development agreement tracker that I provided as an attachment, we're undergoing 10 agreements representing private investment of just under $6 million and the construction of nearly 40,000 square feet of commercial business just from our existing businesses in 2026 alone. Some, if not all of these businesses could qualify for support under the new CIP. And if you consider that Malahide has only received 24 total grants since its inception in 2015, this would represent a massive improvement. We're happy to work with the county to identify more opportunities, and I'd personally like to thank Ms. Cron for all of her hard work and willingness to sit in on meetings for potentially eligible businesses. If any council members would like to discuss the ongoing developments in more detail, I'm happy to chat one-on-one. I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Nice to see another good example of also collaboration between the two municipalities and services. Comments, questions? Deputy Mayor Widner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Stephen, I'm just thinking, like, we're talking about lots of incentives to promote businesses. I think of the Amish area. They probably don't want to maybe get involved with this, but there's something to do with gateway sign where we could promote everybody's down this road, and what is there. Is that something that's even possible, or just throwing it out there? Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Deputy Mayor Widner, it's a possibility. It's a matter of having that communication, if it's something of interest, and then sort of going from there. So it's really important to have those conversations and gaining entry into having those conversations in the first place.
And do you feel that between the two of you, you have the connections in the community to we may have to be proactive in with those specific communities and how we reach out? Good. Councilor Leach.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through to Manager Tripp. On your development agreement tracker, as we approach the bottom of the list, some of the projected development and investment categories reflect zeros. Is that ongoing conversations? Is why zeros?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to you, Councillor Leach. So the reason for the zeros are more or less a technicality. So the builds are not actually happening in 2026. We're entering into agreements. The occupancy permit through the building permit process is what triggers those increases in taxes. So although the development agreement is ongoing, realistically, we've identified that those builds likely aren't going to have occupancy permit in 2026.
Thank you. And the development agreement completed, that is, those are all anticipated to come to fruition, or are some of those kind of in limbo?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to you, Councillor Leach, they're just being negotiated. So yes, it is anticipated that they will be completed. They do take some time, some back and forth, but because we're tracking their progress, they're listed still.
Thank you. And do you want to set targets also, like for the township, and I don't know, for the program as a whole, to give ourselves a point of reference, or are we exceeding targets, or is that part of the implementation?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, that will be part of our implementation. Realistically, for a lot of the ongoing development agreements, we want at the very least to have the conversation with these businesses about what opportunities are available to them, and then obviously closing off on them. Like I said, these are just really easily identifiable opportunities. In sports terms, I'd say these were layups. So we want to take advantage of those when we can. So we'll be tracking, how many conversations do we have? How many will we be able to close?
Excellent. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then resolution, please.
The report number DS 26-15 entitled Collaborative Approach for to delivering the community improvement plan for Malahide 2026 be received, and that council approves the collaborative approach outlined in the report to support the delivery of the community improvement plan.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Wilson moves. Counselor Lewis seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you both. So now we move to the consent application with Mr. Steele, who's been very, very patient. We appreciate your flexibility. Welcome.
Good evening. The county has circulated a consent application to the township for a surplus farm dwelling disturbance. The owner of the property owns multiple farm holdings within the township and is looking to sever the existing dwelling as it is surplus or needs as a result of farm consolidation. The proposal is create or sever the existing dwelling on a lot that's approximately 2 acres in size. Staff have reviewed the application against all the applicable criteria under provincial and local policies and find that it meets all those applicable criteria. And so staff recommend the application be supported by Township Council, subject to standard recommended conditions, including that both the severed and retained lands be rezoned, the retained lands being rezoned to prohibit a new residential use, and that the severed lands be rezoned to an appropriate A4 zone. And that concludes my presentation. If you have any questions or members of council.
Thank you. Questions from council? Seeing none. Resolution, please.
The report number DS 26-14 entitled Application for Consent to Sever number E29-26 of Clausen's Farms Inc. Co. Eugenio de Mayo be received, and that the application for consent to sever E29-26 be supported for the reasons set out in this report, and that this report and the recommended conditions be forwarded to the Land Division Committee for its review and consideration.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Surna moves. Counselor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. The next item is the tender results for the Baxter drain. Director Gopi.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to council, report PW 2615 is as you mentioned, the tender results for the Baxter drain. This is a standard report. We're just looking to award the work that was issued to Robinson Farm Drainage. They came in with the low bid of $249,700. This is well under what the initial engineer's estimate was, so we think that we got some good value, and we're satisfied that the contractor, Robinson Farm Drainage, can successfully complete the work. And once done, we will look to get that work scheduled as soon as possible. If there are any questions, I will happily answer.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Seeing none. Resolution.
The report number PW 26-15 entitled Tender Results Baxter Drain be received, and that the tender for the Baxter Drain be awarded to Robinson Farm Drainage Limited in the amount of $249,700 plus applicable taxes.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Lewis moves. Counselor Surna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. And the next item is an analysis of the impacts of Bill 98. And for that, I'll turn it over to CAO Diaz.
Thank you, Mayor Giguère. This report provides an overview of Bill 98 and related provincial proposals that are currently under consultation. Broadly, these changes are intended to streamline planning approvals, reduce development costs, and accelerate housing supply across Ontario. At a high level, the province is moving toward a more standardized planning framework. This includes changes such as standardized official plans, limits on certain municipal requirements like green building standards, potential minimum lot size regulations, and changes to servicing, including communal water and wastewater systems. From a Malahide perspective, the key takeaway is that the immediate operational impact is expected to be a bit more moderate here. Many of these changes are aimed at larger, fully serviced municipalities with more complex development environments. In our case, we don't heavily rely on tools like enhanced development standards. Much of the township is also not fully serviced, which limits the applicability of some changes, and some proposals may actually help address concerns we've heard locally around delays, costs, and complexity in the development process. That said, there are some important longer-term considerations. There is a clear shift towards increased provincial direction and reduced municipal flexibility. Changes to servicing, particularly communal systems, could introduce some financial and operational risks if not properly managed. And if there are still uncertainties, particularly around development charges and infrastructure funding. Overall, these changes represent more of a system level shift rather than an immediate operational impact for the township. The report also notes that these proposals are still under consideration and further details will come forward through regulation. If council wishes to provide input, there are opportunities to do so, most notably through Elgin County, which is preparing a coordinated submission to the province. Staff will continue to monitor these changes and report back as more information becomes available.
Thank you for that. Comments from members of council? Deputy Mayor Widner?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The response to the county, I think we only had 2 weeks at our end to respond back, so that's pretty moot in that subject. The communal service system, I mean, I can see it working, but I can see a lot of headaches. I can see another Walkerton possibly, but unless the province inspects them and keeps these up to snuff, it could work, but it could be very dangerous. I know it does work in some instances, but it may also help to attract some business. We could maybe, grow Springfield a lot faster, communal well. And one of the things they brought up, it won't affect us, but the minimum lot size now for building a house is 1,850 square feet. Like, wow, pretty tiny. That's if you have full services. And anyway, thank you for that, looking into that. And we'll wait and see what's going to happen. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yeah, a lot of things are still very vague, so so thank you to staff who will be monitoring how the specifics evolve. If it starts affecting us, then perhaps we'll provide some suggestions, but yeah, for now, we'll continue to watch how these things evolve. I mean, I don't think anybody can disagree with the overall intent. We're trying to move barriers, we're trying to speed things up. Reduce red tape. We've heard that from some of our constituents, some of our businesses. So I think this can actually be welcomed by and offer some possibilities. So for us, I think it's a bit of a wait and see, and we'll take the good that's in it for now. So thank you for that. May I have the resolution, please?
That report number CIO 2601 entitled Impacts from Bill 98, Building Homes, Fighting Delays, Reducing Costs be received for information.
Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Cerna moves. Councillor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. My page. Next is bylaws. Go ahead.
That the following bylaws be now read a first and second time. Bylaw 2620, the Hipley Dance Train.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Lewis moves. Councillor Leach seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. We do not have any items for the committee of the whole this week, so we'll go straight to correspondence. There are 7 items. We will be pulling number 7 for a separate resolution. So in regards to 1 to 6, any comments? Councillor Leach?
I'd like to support the Municipal Engineers Association correspondence, please.
Thank you for that. Any other comments? Seeing none, resolution, please.
That item 6 be supported and that the remaining items be noted and filed.
Mover and seconder. Councillor Leach moves. Councillor Wilson seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. And now for item 7. So again, our annual request for is it for the insurance, the use of the pier? Yep. Please go ahead.
That the Malahide Volunteer Firefighter Association be granted permission to utilize a portion of the pier in Port Bruce for the purpose of fireworks display on May 17th, 2026, rain date of May 18th, subject to providing the township with proof of event liability insurance, naming the township of Malahide as an additional insured.
Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Widner moves. Councillor Lewis seconds. Any comments or debate on that? Pretty straightforward. Looking forward to that event. Councillor Leach?
It is a highly anticipated event of the year. So thank you to the volunteer firefighters from Malahide number 5 for putting that on for us.
Thank you for that. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. This brings us to confirmatory bylaw.
That bylaw 2625 being confirmatory bylaw be given first, second, and third reading and properly signed and sealed.
Mover and seconder, please. Counselor Lewis moves, Counselor Wilson seconds. All those in favor? Just want to make sure I see enough hands legitimately. So yes. The motion is carried. And now for adjournment.
The council adjourned its meeting at 8:15 PM to meet again on May 7th, 2026 at 7 PM.
Thank you. Mover and seconder. Deputy Whitner moves. Counselor Cerna seconds. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you.